Dave,
John,
Shane,
Chad,
these sci-fi guys.
Welcome to these Sci-Fi Guys. We are these Sci-Fi Guys, and you guys know us. You love us. It's Dave, Chad, John, and Shane are all here.
Hello.
Yeah, buddy.
What's up,
Yep.
everybody?
Today we are going to be. I didn't choose this movie, but it's actually was enjoyable, right? Maybe we'll talk about it more. We watched Moonfall.
And no, it's not a
from-
007 movie.
No,
Yeah, it's not a 007. That was Moonraker.
and
That was with
Skyfall.
Roger Moore. And then they had Skyfall. And then now we have Moonfall. So okay, let's start out with behind the scenes. All right. Oh, wait a minute. I'm in the wrong place. There we go. Shane's the one that picked this movie, so he's going to ask all the questions. Anyway, Moonfall. This movie is a science fiction disaster movie. Film directed by none other than, click on the right button, Roland Emmerich. He is known for his work on, I got to move my phone so I can read my notes, but actually click on the right buttons. All right. He's known for movies like Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow, 2012, Stargate. The list goes on. I mean, he actually did the first big Godzilla movie, the one from like
2000?
89,
Oh.
2000. No, I can't remember what year that was. The original one where it had the big chin.
Oh, the 2004?
It was 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
2000.
with
Okay.
With Matthew Broderick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he did that one. All right.
I promise I won't hold
Okay.
that against him.
Yeah, we won't hold that against him. He made some really good movies. All right. So this movie was an independent film. So it was not like Sony. It wasn't Miramax. It wasn't any of the big name stuff, or at least big name companies. So this was an independent film. This movie had a reported budget of $140 million. All right. Shane knows the answer, so he can't guess. What do you guys think it made?
300.
300. Okay. Chad?
I kind of agree. Probably around where John, or maybe a little bit more. I don't.
Okay. This movie bombed at the box office. 67 million worldwide.
Major bomb. Major.
Major failure.
I don't like this game anymore.
Well, it's not really a game. It's just
I know, but I'm 0 for 5, man.
yeah, but it's still just getting y'all involved, and I'm not just talking the whole time. This thing was heavily use of what they call CGI, obviously, virtual production. This is actually what they call an LED volume stage. You'll see the one picture on the right is the Mandalorian. That's how they do a lot of his stuff that was filmed. This movie was almost exclusively done using one of these volume stages. COVID-19. As you'll notice, this movie was released in 2022, and COVID-19 had a lot of issues or impacted this thing a lot. This movie was filmed in Montreal, Canada in 2020 and 2021. Well, safety restrictions caused multiple production delays, forced some last-minute casting changes also. So, for example, Stanley Tucci was supposed to be the role of Holenfield, but had to drop out due to pandemic-related travel restrictions. So they added Michael Pena in there. Although I thought Michael Pena did pretty good.
Yeah.
You know? I really thought he played the part well, you know. The John Bradley played Casey Houseman, but it was originally written for Josh Gad, but he also dropped out because of scheduling conflicts. So
Yeah, that's the better fit.
I think that, yeah. I thought who they had was fine. I mean, I
Yeah.
really did. I really thought John Bradley did a fine job with it. And, especially the conspiracy theorists, he looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Roland Emmerich's passion for megastructures. Those of you on audio, I put up a picture of the Death Star too, just because, the idea that the moon is an artificial megastructure is based on real-life conspiracy theory called the hollow moon hypothesis. There are people out there that believe this is true, that the moon is hollow. Emmerich said he was fascinated by this idea and incorporated it into the film's plot. All right. This film pays homage to classic disaster and sci-fi movies, especially 2001. Let me see if I can find it here.
No, Dave, I can't open this space gate.
Yeah, I have so many things in here now that I can't find it right now. Anyway, darn it. Elvis has left the building. No, get to the chopper. That's not it.
Get to the chopper.
Anyway, it's supposed to be. I can't find it. I have one on here that has Dave says, "I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that." He really paid homage to Space 2001, Space Odyssey, Armageddon, and Independence Day. Of course, he wrote Independence Day and Stargate, or he directed them. Excuse me. The AI antagonists in Moonfall share similarities with the HAL 9000. He actually got NASA to provide technical advice for some of the spaceflight sequences, though the film took many creative liberties with physics and science. And it received negative to mixed reviews. I'm sorry, mixed to negative reviews overall. So let's go ahead and go with our questions. All right, Shane, you have the questions this week.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started with them. We'll do this in kind of a share out format, so there's not a particular person starting. You can just, when you feel free, you share out. So here is the first one. What was your first reaction to the big reveal that the moon is an artificial megastructure? Did you think this enhanced the story, or was it too far-fetched?
I kind of thought it was a little too far-fetched. I'm like, really? The moon? Of course, I've seen tons of other things about the moon. I think I mentioned it last week, or maybe I mentioned it off air. I grew up on Space 1999. All right. It was a 1970s TV show that was based on the moon. And then the moon gets ripped out of Earth's orbit. And then it's basically just flying through space, and they're just trying to survive. So to me, I kind of thought it was like, okay, really? This is kind of far out there. But I thought the same thing with Stargate too when it first came out, and then my mind kind of said, well, this is plausible. This could happen. So I guess I'm on the fence. I want to say no. I mean, it was way too far-fetched, but plausibility, maybe. Someone else?
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
I definitely agree with that. I think it's a little on the too far fetched side, just because mainly science, I guess, would be my because on that. It's just scientifically.
That's John's favorite plot hole is always science.
It is. It makes no sense for it to be there, and I think the whole plot of the movie with the moon falling out of orbit could have worked with the big evil villain, and still could have worked without that being an added plot and without that being the fix. So to me, it's just a little too far-fetched.
Chad, what you think?
Like I said, I agree with Dave. I'm in the middle because, you wouldn't think that the moon was a false moon, false planet. It's just a big crust with a metal inside. But you never you didn't hear about the mega structure till you got up to what's this? The very good hacking skills guy
Mm-hmm.
because he social engineered into the research the moon. He was just looking, but the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, until you saw it, you wouldn't believe it. So in
Mm-hmm.
the beginning, I was on the fence, and I'm still on the fence. I'm like with Dave. It you wouldn't believe until you saw it.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I think it's a little too far fetched, and I picked this movie, and I can say that. I think that um, when I first watched this movie when it first came out, that was totally not the direction that I thought it was going in. So it really was a surprise, and I think it was just a bridge too far, as they would say.
Mm.
Which actually leads into our second question. The film's science is questionable at best. Does Moonfall go too far with its wild premise, or is the over the top nature part of what makes the movie fun?
And see, here's where I come in on the fence. I think it's almost like you have to go either a little further on the wild premise or you need to back it up and make it more realistic. I think they aimed for a little bit of both and ended up landing in a weird space that wasn't useful for either.
Mhm.
You either had to go way more wild to me and get something that really is just out of this world fun that hasn't been done before, which they
Mhm.
kind of had with the mega structure, or you had just had to go, let's be realistic. The moon, a meteor hit the moon and it's out of orbit. I think they landed squarely in the middle of those two, and I think that just kind of muddied the waters a little bit for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would agree with that because if they went in order to really make it even better, is yeah, go with it. Just go.
Mhm.
You're already thinking that you're about to have something that where nobody can understand. So just go with the flow and just kind of make it really far stretch to make it back the story up, or bring it back, make it a little bit more serious. Where hey, moon is coming, is collapsing like this, like, or make the sun explode. Do the so.
Mhm.
I don't know. I thought it was good. When it comes to is it over the top nature was fun. I think it was. I think I agree with what John and Chad said. Maybe push it a little bit further, not like
Mhm.
Mel Brooks type of comedy, but maybe I don't want to get too involved with fixing or improving yet. But you know, maybe it needs to go a little bit further. Maybe just
Mhm.
be, instead of being an actual shuttle, they had a different spaceship or
Mhm.
whatever. Uh, with being able to fly only on two engines, and the rockets don't even get them out of the atmosphere. But then because of the gravity situation, it worked. So
Mhm.
yeah, I agree with it. I think it was the over the top is what made it enjoyable. I think if they would have throttled back any more than they did, I think it would have been mundane and it would have been exactly like every other science fiction movie out there.
Mhm. I agree with Dave. I think that this is part of the fun. I think it's part of what makes the movie what it is. There's a couple of things with that'll be in my fixes that I'll talk about later, but we'll go ahead and move on to our third question. The film's science suggests that an ancient AI turned against its creators, leading to catastrophic consequences. Do you think humanity is at risk of creating technology that could one day surpass um, and threaten us? And if so, where do you think we should draw the line?
Oh, I know. Don't give it intelligence. Keep it dumb. Don't invent Skynet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no Skynet, no Skynet.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chad is spot on to me. I think, as long as artificial intelligence is just that, it's artificial, and it doesn't become sentient, and it only is as good as the programmers that program it. I think it can be a useful tool. Did I say that right? A useful tool. I think if it goes any further than it is right now, though, I think then you're talking issues. You're talking HAL 9000.
Sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
On its own. I finally found it. See, you know what I'm saying? I just think that if it goes any further than it is right now here in 2025, I think we could have issues in the world.
John?
You're muted, John.
I'm spot on with it. Could be an issue. Just in the sense of, I think we're on the precipice as a society as to whether we keep it being helpful or if we decide to make it a destructive weapon. And realistically, even now, it's still being used a lot in very just dire, evil ways to make people say things they didn't, or in other ways I'm not going to mention on here. But it's already being used for bad stuff, but it's also already really useful. And I think we're really on that kind of knife's edge as to which way we send it into the stratosphere, especially with even this week. I mean, you have quantum computing come along at a rapid rate, and AI is even helping us get to more and faster computing with quantum computing and making it smaller already. And like, we just figured that out, and it's already being boosted. And then you add that kind of computing power and speed on top of artificial intelligence. I think we're on the knife's edge. We either send it in the right direction in the long run, or we decide it's going to be a very evil thing, and we're done for.
I would agree. I think Dave hit the key word. It's a tool. And I think whenever we start to go past that, then I think that's when we get in trouble and we start seeing Skynet and things like that, which hopefully never happens. But anyway, moving on. Final question. The film shows that the government and NASA withholding critical information. Sorry. Let me phrase that. The film shows the government and NASA withholding critical information from the public. Do you think society would react better or worse if faced with a real-life extinction level event?
I say no, because why worry the mass public over something that maybe it can't be prevented unless they figure out how to prevent it? Then if it's in reversible, they can't fix the moon. Yeah, let them know. Hey guys, we got about 24 hours before we're gonna be gone. So say your prayers.
I think you will see if let's just say an extinction, this event was happening right now, and then they come over radios and internet and TV, they break in the middle of this podcast and say, warning, this is what's going to happen. I think people are going to freak out, and I think looting will happen. I think more deaths will happen. Not in a, and I just think that people are just going to go off the deep end. With that being said, I would want to know, but I don't think the masses would want to know. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. John, what'd you think?
I think the movie, this is one of the definitely the more realistic parts I think the movie hit in terms of a masses reaction to this. I mean, no matter what, any event like that is just going to be chaotic, and it's just going to breed more chaos in the midst of that. In terms of making the decision to tell the masses or not, if I think about how we're living right now, I know there's not any major mass extinction events on the horizon that we know of, but I also know a lot of high-paid officials keep a lot of very well-hidden secrets, and we live just fine that way. And honestly, I think I'm still fine living that way in a lot of ways, because realistically, as we know in education and in other fields, not everyone needs to know everything all the time, because if you know something too soon and you don't know how to use it, then it's a problem, and you're going to freak out in some way. And realistically, I think that comes down to a knowledge versus wisdom debate. everybody can have knowledge, but the wisdom on using that knowledge is going to make the difference on it. So I'm fine being in the dark.
I agree. I think I see both sides, but I think that all I can say is I'm glad that that is not a decision that I have to make. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and with that, let's go to plot holes. All right, this is I was actually thinking about this recently, that since Shane has joined the show, Shane is really about music, the score, and all that. John has always been about camera angles, the just the videography or whatever. I'm always about the plot holes because I just love them. And Chad has always been about the story. You know, is it a good story? Is it a bad story? And if you don't entertain me, why am I doing this? You know. So it's
Mhm.
funny how each of the four of us have something different that we're bringing to the table here.
That's right.
But I'm going to ask you guys, plot holes. Did you see any, or that just pick one? How about we just there's
pick
so
one.
many.
Pick one.
Just pick one or two or whatever.
Okay, well, I'm gonna pick my main one then. My main one is going back to just the science as a whole. There's just a whole lot there that's just not accurate at all. Um, from equipment use to the moon effects in general, they got some of it right. Like, yeah, it would affect the tides, and you'd have these weird wave patterns, but at the same time, you'd also have the Earth like being ripped apart where the moon is coming in. You'd also have a lot of earthquakes, and with earthquakes and the Earth being pulled apart, you'd have a lot more lava. So there's some of that it didn't get quite right. Leadership in this film is just wacky and all over the place. A lot of decisions get made very quickly, and people end up in positions that they have no right to be in. And the decision isn't really made in a logical way. It's just like, you're here, you're coming with us, and just overall, people end up in a lot of places they shouldn't be in just randomly. And so, though it even to me, that leadership side goes back to the science side, because if you're in any scientific community, you're not just shoving leadership around like that either. So that's my big one.
I might agree
Okay.
with John right there. But the biggest one I saw, the one I saw is, hey, NASA needs you back. What can we get you back? Oh, my son's in jail, and you go get him out. They wouldn't do that. They might, yeah, I can go make sure he's safe, but what?
Well, I mean, if he's going to save the world, I mean,
But
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Right.
Yeah. Shane, how about you?
I think one of the biggest plot holes for me, and this kind of relates to what John was saying about the science portion, I just think that it really it did not answer some of the questions that we needed answered. For example, whenever the AI was destroyed at the end, how did the moon suddenly, when it was actually in the Earth's orbit and it was destroying cities, how did it just very, very quickly rotate back into its normal orbit? How
It had
just
jet engines on it.
I guess it did, but but just little things like that. I think that they tried to take a very scientific approach with it, but it just went too far. And I think kind of like what we talked about in the questions, you either have to embrace the crazy and the far out there notion and run with it, or you have to back that off and you have to make it more scientific. And I think that this particular movie, I'm thinking back to Dave. Dave, you mentioned some of the other movies that this director made, like Independence Day, wasn't it, like 2012 and things like that. So
Yep.
this kind of felt like a combination of a lot of those movies, and it just seemed like
Right.
it was too much. It was too much packed into one, and you could have either went simpler as to why the moon was out of orbit, or you could have went much further and kind of threw science out the window. And I think it tried to do a little bit of both. It just didn't work.
Yeah, for me, the one of the biggest one was the general. You know, I'm sorry if you got the key to launch the nukes. Those other guys are going to be right behind you. If you don't turn the key, they're
Mhm.
going to shoot you, and they're going to go
Mhm.
ahead and turn the key for you. Period.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and don't give me this. Well, my ex-wife has never let me down before.
They don't care.
She's your ex-wife for a reason. Right? That means obviously someone let someone down at some point, you know. So again, they don't care. You know, that
No.
was a biggie. And of course, I mean, John hit on it with the everything with the gravitational pull. You know, sometimes cars are getting sucked up in the air, other times things are getting flown down at the same time, and it just made it for a big mess. You know, oh, there's no oxygen, now there's plenty, you know, in a span of, you know, just boop, you know, the rush timeline, you know, everything is just, oh, we got to get, I mean, there's no way they could have got that space shuttle put together.
That
You know, if
fast.
it was on
Mhm.
display, there's no engines in it
Mm-mm.
at all. You know, I mean, you're talking months of work
Mhm.
to put it back together, and yet they're doing it in like 2 days. You know,
Well,
Yeah.
things like that.
who knows? It could have been. There's some planes in museums that are stored where they have to crank them. They're engines in them.
I've
I'm
never seen that.
just
I've never seen that just because of the oil, and the
yeah.
fluids that are inside of engines. Most of the time, they take those out. They put weights in there to counterbalance it. You know, like if you go to um, the Smithsonian, for example, they've got the Enterprise in there. The original space shuttle is in. It's not in the one that's in Washington D.C. It's in the one that's in Virginia. They've got it's basically you just go underneath the big tunnel that goes underneath the I can't think of the name of the river. So anyway, and you're right over there, and then they've got another huge one. The original SR-71 is in there, you know, things like that. And they can't keep engines in those things. I mean, we've got static displays on base, and they take all that stuff out
Mhm.
just because of the toxic, you know, fuel. You know, you can't have JP8 or JP4 leaking on people as they're walking around looking at the stuff. So I've never seen one. Maybe you've seen some. I mean, I've never seen anything. They might have facades that look like an engine, but not the actual engine itself.
Mhm.
And then, of course, where does Patrick Wilson get a gun from that he hands his son?
True.
Where did he get it from? You know, I mean, and you know, then oh, here, take this. Just little stuff like that. You know, the astronauts were wearing spacesuits, but they wore normal boots.
No, true.
Just
I
things
didn't
like
even catch that.
that.
They
Yeah,
didn't throw helmets on when they noticed things crashing into them.
exactly. You know, oh, it's cracking. Let's put a helmet on. Anyway, all right, let's go and let's rate this thing. Okay, now in this part of the show, we are going to rate this on a scale of 0 to 5 lightsabers, and we can do halves if we want to. Shane, you picked this movie out. You get to rate it first.
Oh, the pressure. Um, so in its essence, this was an enjoyable movie. I think that for what it was, it's a disaster movie, very far fetched. Um, I mentioned this earlier, but the music was pretty good. I thought it was a good score. I thought it fit very well. Um, the biggest issue is, like I said, I think it tried too hard to pack in too many things. I think it could have, in my opinion, I think it could have went simpler for a simpler reason of why the moon was getting out of orbit and a different
Mhm.
kind of fix and things like that. Um, but it was enjoyable. It really was. So I'm gonna kind of go in the middle, and I'm gonna give it 3 lightsabers.
3 lightsabers. All right, let's go with you, Chad.
Mm, well, it's a good story. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I will probably watch it again, but it's not a 5. It's not a 4. It's I say 3. I'm good with Shane right there with three lightsabers. I can't give him any more than that.
Okay, John, how about you?
I'm going in uncharacteristic here, guys. It's a solid 2 for me, just from the sense of there are just a lot of plot holes. I think the story was a little too all over the place, science a little all over the place, but I give it, man, major credit, which this almost pushed it to a 3 to me. Because I was on the fence at 2.5, then we talked some more tonight. I'm like, nah, a lot of plot holes. So I'm like back down to 2. But the visuals in of itself, this movie was very well, beautifully made. Just in
Mhm.
terms of color schemes they used, even in CGI and all of that. There are a couple moments where I'm like, okay, that's definitely CGI, but overall, it wasn't too horrible. And just the fact that a lot of the movies crafted in that way, they just set up a lot of beautiful imagery. But it's still a solid 2 for me.
All right. Well, John, I think you and I are on the same wavelength. I actually gave it a 2 also. Uh, I thought visually it was very well. Um, honestly, the conspiracy theorist, I can't think of his name. Cad? No.
No, not it's not. It's not God.
Hold on. Let me look at
Houseman?
IMDb. I got it right here. John Bradley, Casey
Oh,
Houseman.
no. Yeah.
Bradley. I liked him. All right. Patrick Wilson, no, not so much. Halle Berry, no, not so much either. So, I mean, it was
Oh,
fine,
that was
but
Halle Berry.
that was
Mhm.
Halle Berry. Yeah.
Yep.
So when I go back and look at what I have rated 2.5, I was thinking 2.5 originally, and I said, well, The Last Starfighter was 2.5. Did I enjoy The Last Starfighter better? Yes, I did. Contact, I did 2.5, and I'm like, did I enjoy that better? They're about the same. So I was like, okay, maybe about the same. And then Waterworld was 2.5 also, but I enjoyed that much more. So to me, that's why I gave this one a 2. I didn't enjoy it as much as the other ones that I've rated 2.5. Would I watch it again? Probably, just because of the visual effects. Visual effects were fantastic. They really were.
Mhm.
And I enjoyed that part a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and let's try to fix this movie. We are going to now either fix or improve this movie. I think by what we rated it as, we're all going to try to fix this somehow. I guess I'll start on this one, just since I'm talking. To me, I think one of the things I'd like to see is one. I do want to see. You guys noticed they left it on a kind of a cliffhanger. They wanted to do another movie, and they didn't.
Mhm.
If they wanted to go and continue on with this, they don't need to make a movie. They need to make another miniseries.
Mhm.
I'm kind of on that miniseries thing right now, I guess. Last couple ones, I'm like, they should make a miniseries. But but I think they need to lean into the comedic side. I think they need to replace uh, who did I say his name was? They need to
Uh,
Patrick Wilson.
Houseman.
No, Patrick Wilson. Right? They need to replace him with Lego Batman. Uh, the two look so much alike. All right, and just kind of go with the. I think they need to go they need to go more on the comedic side. They really do, and just have fun with it. Um, or like we said earlier, or go full fledged conspiracy theorist. Okay, hey, we got this thing. We have this ship that we came out of no, uh, almost like Independence Day resurgence. And
Mhm.
almost that line. That's where we are in the world when this happens. In the future. Don't make
Mhm.
it like current modern day time. Make it into, hey, we're in the 2300s or
Mhm.
whatever. That's just my opinion. Somebody else.
I mean, I agree with that. Make. I agree. Miniseries. Even this movie could have been a miniseries. At least an 8-part miniseries is to tell the story. Get more involved in the story. Then they probably could get more serious in one episode and more funny in the other when they introduce the conspiracy theory. Yeah, I agree. Replacing the astronaut. I, he's a good actor. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't play. Yeah, I didn't particularly like him in there. other than that, I mean, then especially with the beginning of the movie with the trial, make it more formal. Make it where it's actually they're in the Congress and senators and congressmen is drilling them what happened. Why did all this 8-10 million? Well, how much the the spaceship cost? Say you lost it. What happened?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and maybe that's a plot hole too. How in the world did they get back home?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're
No, I
not you're in this little shut. Well, no, the AI did fix it. So yeah, okay, I guess we can give them that. Anyway, sorry, I digress. All right, somebody else.
So for me, I really lean towards the side of story development, and I think this one just kind of dumped a lot of stuff on you at one time, and really did not go into building on the knowledge, building on the story. And I think that I like the idea of a miniseries because I think that you can build on it. You can focus on different things in each episode. You can focus on the character development. You can focus on the idea of the mega structure and where that came from. You can talk about the AI, how it actually developed, because they kind of went into it, and I just think it would have been
Yeah, but it was
better
too
if you
quick.
would have. Yes, it was too quick. Everything was too quick, and there was a lot. So I just think that if you were able to either expand it or, like I said, pick one major thing and run with it versus trying to mix in a lot of things like the AI, the mega structure, the out of order. Pick one or two and really dive into them. I just think that would have been better.
Well, here's where I take a huge divergence to the last three. I honestly I say let's go super realistic. Moon's fallen, asteroids hit the moon, it's out of orbit. Maybe humans just miss it. All of our, early detection, which is starting to come along now, it missed the calculation wildly. Asteroid hits the moon, sends it careening into us. I say humanity goes last ditch effort. Technology that's just being researched and pushed out with pushing asteroids out of the way with rockets. Let's try to boost those rockets to push the moon out of the way. But I say go Rogue One it, and humanity fails, and you just capture a whole bunch of like beautiful last moments, if that makes sense. I think that would be a very impactful film. I think that would have been, if you're going to go the more realistic side, I think that would have been the play. Honestly, made it a little more sad, a little less just like, yeah, no matter what, we're going to win. Or just go absolute ridiculous, lean into the conspiracy theorist side. But honestly, I think the Rogue One, no, humanity tried. Like the whole film sets up this: we're trying, we're going to get it, and then we just don't. I think that would be huge for this film.
I
don't
like
know.
that.
I don't know how
I like
many of
that
y'all
too.
seen Deep Impact.
I was just
Yep.
thinking that, Chad. I was just thinking that.
The very ending where hey, it's gonna happen, and they all just sat up and watched. Like, and all of a sudden, it's just all broke up. It something. I mean, that ending would have been better than what we got.
Yeah. Yep, I can see that.
Direct to Enterprise.
Please contact us. Tell us if you agree with our ratings or how you would fix or improve this movie, or if there's a movie that you would like us to review. The easiest way to do that is if you're watching us on YouTube is to comment below. For those of you that are audio-only listeners, you can reach us on either X or Facebook at TheseSciFiGuys. Or you could email us, TheseSciFiGuys@gmail.com.
Now we're going to look at other sci-fi stuff. Okay, Chad. Not Chad. Huh. Sorry, I'm tired. Shane, you picked this movie. You're the one that told me, you wanted to talk about something. So Go right ahead.
All right. So as Dave kind of mentioned, each of us kind of have our own little areas that we kind of focus on, and for me it's the music. And I think that the film score is just as important as so many other elements, the right actors, the right script, everything. And one of the things I found while I was looking through this, and this kind of relates back to the last movie we did, which is E.T., and I talked in that episode about how the importance of the collaboration between Steven Spielberg and John Williams, the film composer, how it really brought the story to life, and it's a wonderful score. I found a YouTube video. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long, but it is a clip from the Stephen Colbert Show, and he interviewed both Spielberg and John Williams together, and they were talking about a lot of their film scores they did together. One of them being E.T., and the title of it, which really caught me, was how the music becomes another actor. And they really kind of go into the importance of creating a film score that fits the movie and brings the music to life. And of course, there's nobody better at this than John Williams. Let's be honest. There's a lot of great film composers out there. Hans Zimmer being another one. Howard Shore who did the Lord of the Rings movies and so many others. I mean, there's so many good ones. But to hear from a legend like John Williams and him talking about the importance of the music in film, I just thought would be a great thing for us to just post. I think we've linked it in the description box. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah, I'll put it in the description box.
Yeah. So take some time, watch it. It's really good. I think Stephen Colbert does a great job kind of leading the interview. Again, it's about 6 or 7 minutes, but it just kind of dives into why music and film is so important.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Speaking of importance, we've got a big important thing that we're going to do next week. Now, those of you that have been watching this show for a while, we have done Star Wars, we've done some Star Trek, we've done mostly stuff that we liked for the most part. Okay, now we're going to do something that me personally, I did not like. Yep. We are going to fix not just the four of us. We're also having those sci-fi guys are going to be on here next week. And we are going to fix the franchise, the Star Wars prequel trilogy. The whole show is just basically going to be us fixing episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, where you're not having Anakin be such a whiny little brat. In most of the stuff, I can tell you, I've actually kind of binged all 4 or 3 of them this week. Oh man, they're so bad. Episode 3 really wasn't that bad, but it all goes back to 1 and 2, to just the setup of what they did to 3. So each of us are going to come up with our own ideas on how we can fix it. And then we'll talk about it. We'll just say, hey, that's an idea. If you think about this, or, it may be different characters. It may be the same. And we're just saying, hey, we just want to get rid of Jar Jar Binks, or something. I don't know. I mean, it could be something as simple as that. And then we go with it. So, but we're looking forward next week. We're having those sci-fi guys on here with us. And I don't know. Anything else? Did I miss anything, guys?
Looking forward to it.
No. All right. Well, everybody, until next time.
Crash and burn. These Sci-Fi Guys is an independent broadcast by The Sci-Fi Guy Productions. Super Epic is music courtesy of Alexander Nakarita and is found on creatorrecords.com. For more information on upcoming episodes, follow us on X at The Sci-Fi Guys. For our audio-only listeners, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Like, subscribe, or leave a comment to let us know how we're doing.